Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. Well, second son and daughter and I have been out picking elderberries, cutting elderberries actually. It takes too long to stand there and pick them off the tree. We cut the branches and then put them in 5-gallon pails, take them inside, and then kind of work the elderberries off with our hands and rinse them off and bag them up and get them ready to start making our yearly tincture of elderberry. Getting ready for that sneeze season, right? So we've been doing that today. It occurred to me I have the one that I made yesterday about living well and deciding how well you want to live. Brought to mind a lot of comments that I get, a lot of questions that I get that that kind of let me know there's a lot of anxiety out there. There is a lot of anxiety about. At the end, I'll say something about hats too. I won't interject it here, but I've had some more questions about hats. People getting ready to buy their hats for the year, so I'll talk about that at the end of this. Okay, but I know there's a lot of anxiety out there. People are nervous. They're kind of, they feel like they're in a hurry. They feel like there's just so many things coming at them at once, especially people who are new into preparedness. It just seems like there's so many things that you need to take care of and keep in mind and things like that. It can seem overwhelming, and that's where new prepper burnout can come from. It's also where experienced prepper burnout can come from. If you let yourself get too wound around the axles with everything that's going on in life, it's easy to let that happen. but I caution you against that, and it brings to mind an old joke. Many of you have heard this, and maybe get a chuckle out of hearing it again. And maybe some of you haven't, in which case it'll be something that you'll remember for a long time. And I'm going to have to kind of clean it up, because this is a family channel. But it's the one about the old bull and the young bull. And right now, I know at least half of you are going, "Oh yeah, I know that one. I remember that one." So for those of you who haven't heard it, there's an old bull and a young bull walking across the field. They get to the top of the hill and they look down, and down there in the gully are a bunch of cows, which are female cattle. Okay. And the young bull gets all excited, and he looks at the old bull and says, "Let's run down there and get to know a couple of those." The old bull looks at him and says, "Well, let's walk down and get to know all of them." That's kind of what that's kind of how I approach preparedness. Easy does it. Have a plan, like I talked about last night, and the one that I put up last night. Is have a plan, know where you're going, know the picture on the puzzle box, have an idea, and then start realizing and thinking about and putting together the pieces of what it takes, what's going to need to go into building up your situation into that plan to pretty much look like the picture on the box. If you do that, you realize, and then guard against being buffeted by the wind of the day, right? Whatever coming, there's always something coming. There's always something coming out of the news or a latest concern, and as soon as they think that you're not worrying enough, they're going to come up with something else, right? That's why I've been preparing for a long time, and I still prepare hard. But that's why I don't get all excited about it and all anxious about it, because I know that it's easy to be played by the outside, or it's easy to play yourself. To be honest, if you're not in daily control and live kind of a life of equilibrium, okay, it's easy to go off on a tangent and spend time and money on things that may not be your best investment of either. And so don't allow yourself to be buffeted by these things. Now I also say that it's good to let certain things, to use certain things as a drill. Okay, we just had this, what was this, cyber polygon or whatever it is, come up. Was it yesterday? Was it? I don't even know. If when things like that come up, when there's an announcement made, pay attention to it. It's usually not going to have the effect that the fearmongers want you to think that it's going to. Remember Jade Helm and some others going around, but I recommend that you use these as drills, kind of set points. Say, okay, say this is going to happen. How am I set up? Am I set up perfectly? Am I set up to the extent that I want to be? And usually the answer is going to be no. I mean, who of us is, right? But say, okay, if this is going to happen Thursday, then where am I weak? Okay, where are my soft spots? What do I need to tighten up on? And those are great things to use as drills, personal drills for yourself. But as an ongoing preparedness lifestyle, which is what life should be. It's 100 years ago, 150 years ago, it was simply called life, and now we live such cushy lives that if we lost power, if we lost the grid, if we lost this or that, if we're not prepared, we're gonna be in a real world of hurt. But just approach it, with a mind and a pace of equilibrium, saying every day I do something that's going to fortify my position, that's going to, make me stronger, that's going to help to ensure the safety, security, and ongoing well-being of my family. And somebody will ask, "What's that sound? Was that a bumblebee?" No, that was a car going by. And take that approach, and then don't get all excited about it. There's a reason the old bulls get to be old bulls. And I wrote something in one of my books, I don't remember what it was, to where somebody suggested that they rushed down where they came up over a hill and they saw something going on, and kind of a young impetuous guy said, "Let's go down and take care of that." And the more experienced guy said, "Let's just watch for a minute, see what's going on, because if you rush into some things it's not that easy to rush out of if you need to, right? And you might have to. So just take that for what it's worth. Go at it. It's the old tortoise and the hare, and the slow and steady usually wins, and then you don't get surprised, and you don't misuse your time and your money. Okay, that a few questions about hats that I had here. Somebody from England. Hey, thanks good to hear from you, buddy. I can't believe that I'm still getting comments on my cowboy hat videos, and people all over the world seem to be interested in that, and that is great. And I love your questions about that. Somebody was saying that they're wondering if what kind of advice that I have. They're looking to buy their first hat, or maybe it wasn't their first hat, maybe it was a new hat. I forget. Either way, this is going to apply. They're getting ready to buy a new or a first hat or whatever like that. What do I recommend? Okay, well now it's August, so I'm still wearing a straw, because you wear straws when it's hot. They keep the sun off you, but they cool you. And I won't get into all the differences of which hats cool better. Maybe I'll do that on another one. But we're getting into felt hat season, and that's the winter time. That's when you transition over to a felt hat. Now, hats in that range comes in two. They come in wool or in beaver felt, and there are some other exotic, furs that you can get them in, I suppose. But I'm not that fancy, My suggestion is start looking for a felt hat. Go a couple of places. Boot Barn, if you have one in town, they've got good ones. Cavender's have a good selection. Different places. Once you get down a little bit south of here, you'll get into down into Texas, actually, really. You can find places that just specialize in hats, and they'll have every kind of hat you can imagine. Um, but there are three main brands that I would suggest. I mean, if you want good hats, okay, if you want good hats, Stetson, Resistol, and American Hat. I've said before that Stetsons, although I like their quality, most of them don't fit me well because they come in what's called a round oval instead of a long oval. My head's a long oval. Now this happens to be a Stetson, but it just fits me for some reason, and I like it. Resistols fit me better. Uh, I tend to go. This is just personally. I tend to go with the darker colors instead of the lighter colors for a winter hat. You know, the darker it is, kind of the more formal it is. You know, you just Kelly's been after me to get a black hat. I'm not a black hat guy. I kind of, but I see, more and more guys are going with black hats, and they certainly are, for a formal wedding. Not that I wear a hat to weddings, but I finally tried on a black Resistol the other day, and darned if I didn't like it. So who knows? Maybe I'll break down and get a black hat. But usually I've preferred the browns. It's just personal opinion. Um, so kind of go for anything that's maybe at least a 4X or above. Quality of hat is determined by the number of X's. Now that doesn't mean you can get a 20X Stetson that's going to be, or Resistol that's going to beat the heck out of some other company's 200X. There's no standardized uh, rule about what's the word I'm looking for, what an X means. I'll just put it that way. So just look at them. You want they'll have a good tight press. If you stay with those brands, you can't really beat it. I'm sure there's other brands that are good, but just go out there and see what you like, and make sure that you get the right size, and play around with it a little bit. Now's the time for you to start kind of looking into it and going places, put it on your head, see what looks good on you. Different brims are going to look better on different people, depending on how tall you are, how stocky you are. Different crowns are going to look different on people, depending on the same. So just go out there and play around and find the one that's right for you. And if you get one, I'd suggest you get one before October, because that's when we're going to start getting into. You're going to want it to keep your head warm. They keep your head warm. You won't believe how warm a hat will keep your head. A good wool, even a wool are of less quality than beaver felt. But I have a wool hat. I like it very much, and you won't believe how warm they'll keep your head, and they keep that drizzle, that fall drizzle, and then it keeps the winter snows. It's so nice to be out there and not have that drizzle and snow going down the back of your shirt when you're out trying to do stuff, which doesn't happen with a ball cap or a beanie. So anyway, I guess I'll leave that at that. Thinking about preparing. Don't make yourself anxious about it. Settle down. Come at it in a methodical way. Watch videos, read up, and then just a little bit every day. I haven't said this for a long time. I think I said it when I was first getting started. But what I always suggest to people is do something every day, because that's what makes it a pattern, right? A habit. Something every day, whether it's buying something, and I warn people against buying expensive stuff. You can't buy expensive stuff every day, but there's usually a couple of things you could, whether you're at the store and you buy a few extra cans of soup or spaghetti or whatever, or whether it's a skill or whether it's gardening. Just like today, for the most part, we were out, harvesting elderberries, and here in a little bit, after I upload this, I'm going to go out and kind of get the truck tightened up for winter, and make sure that all of my preparedness and survival supplies are in the truck in the bags that I want it, and probably when when it gets cool off, maybe I'll do a video on that. But anyway, I think that's about it. I better get back inside and start shucking some of these elderberries. And remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. That is the goal, to live well, not to be out there starving and scratching, but to live well. And do it slow and methodical like the tortoise and the old bull. So you all have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.